Okay, I wanted to do a quick little video and show you what I've done with Notion. I'm really liking this tool, so I thought it would be cool to share that. I have a lot of stuff in OneNote that I didn't want to move, so some of this stuff is just going to link over to OneNote. But the biggest part is I started with a weekly planner, so I can click on that one, and you can see I've got my quick links up here to take me to things that I might want to get to from this page. So I basically have a weekly plan where I could put in the date, what would make the week great, looking forward to new habits, what I'm learning, projects, and you can see there's a filter here and there's views here. So I can see what I've done for the month. I can see what I've done for the year. I can see all of them. Or if I go back to today, because I haven't input anything for today, it's blank. Then I've got my weekly recap. So I want to see each week how I'm doing, my week's wins, how I'll improve, what my mood is, which I really like this little drop down. Let's see if I can do it, because I can put little happy faces or sad faces in, which makes it more fun if I want to see what my mood is. It's just, I like the visual, it makes it more interesting. Um, so that's my quick weekly plan. And as you can see from the weekly, I could click to today, or I can come over here and click over to today. On my today page, I've got the same kind of thing with some links. These links here, journal, dreams, those go to OneNote pages. So I can keep doing those things in OneNote and not have to move everything. This one just goes to internet, which opens up my start page, which I should do a video on because I really like this tool as well. So I've got my morning routines. I've played around with this, had several iterations of it, wasn't quite sure what I liked. So this is what I've settled on. On the morning, I want to see my sleep logs. So this is a page that just pulls in when it works. My Fitbit data, so I can scroll through and see all of that. This is just a Google Sheet. This is actually data captured with if this then that, and it pulls it into a sheet, and then I just link the sheet. As you can see, I haven't finished. I don't have my handy little icons here or tabs here to go back to where I want to be. So we'll just go back over here to today. So I've got that. I've got my Bible study. That will just open up the tool here that I've decided is my favorite. It's from Faith Life. I like it because over here you can see the readings that I need to do, and then I can see the prayers that I'm working on. But this tool actually comes from the Logos Bible software. So with Logos, I can have it on my phone, I can have it on the desktop app, or I can have the web-based version, and all the data will sync. So no matter where I want to read it from, I can get to my Bible reading. So I can just close that up. The afternoons, I need to be grading the kids' schoolwork, so that's just a link over to Microsoft Teams. And then if I want to work on travel stuff, that is just a link to another page. Evening, I don't think I've got, oh, I do have. We need to do a video each day that we watch from Embassy Media. I might want to read a book from the Amazon library or the Nook library. So I just put some quick links there, things I should be doing in the evenings. But I decided to go with routines here and put in what time I wake up, whether or not I did my prayer, my Bible, my breakfast, and my shower. And you can see the filter here is going to be set. I love these filters. It's so easy. That date is today. So you can see nothing is checked off. So I have not completed today. I did do this and I did do this, and I don't know that without. I can come over here and see if it tracked my data last night. Let's see. 1:18. I don't think it got my data last night yet. Sometimes if then this that doesn't update quite as quickly as I'd like. Okay, so I would normally put in my time here. I did have breakfast. I have not yet showered. It's one of those days we're probably going to swim, so we'll skip that till the evening. Again, it's got the nice little views, so I can do morning, afternoon, evening. So in the afternoon, I just switch it to this one. Obviously, I haven't done these things yet. These are things I want us to do every day: exercise, walk, a fun activity, and I want to be able to track that. If I go down to, well, I didn't put one in yet. I should have a view for all so I can kind of see how that's going. As I said, this is a work in progress. I wanted to do today's focus and keep that. I want to keep track of what I'm grateful for, habits I'm working on, and what I'm looking forward to. I went through a lot of planners to see what methodologies are out there. And a lot of them had this gratefulness thing. And I wanted to really work on that this next year and be more grateful and improve my mood. So I'm going to be tracking that. And then I want to work on a habit. So every day I write the habit in here, and it may be the same habit for a while. Right now, I've been working on talking softly. I want to be more of a Mrs. Duggar and less of a drill sergeant. So I've been putting it in every day, talk softly, and I think it's working. I think by saying it repeatedly to myself that it gets stuck in my head and I think about it for the rest of the day. I've got my looking forward to. That might be going to the beach or playing a game with the kids. And I can see all of these that I've been working on, or I can just go to today. And since I haven't put anything in today, it's sitting there blank for me. I like being able to close these so that I don't have to see it and can make my page smaller so that if I want to hop in and just go to a certain place, it's easier. I've got my tasks. So I've been working on a task thing. I've been using Todoist for years and it's got some great features. I like it. I switched over to Microsoft To Do because it integrates better with Outlook and it's okay, but I want to see my tasks here. I want everything in one place like a paper planner. And Todoist doesn't integrate well with this. To Do doesn't integrate with anything other than Outlook. So I've put in all of my to do items. I've got these views. So if it's to do today, boom, this little arrow here, if I click that, it'll open up the whole page, which I've made a nice, pretty little page. And I've got all these to do items here. You can see my things are the due date, tags, goals, priorities, whether or not it's done. It could be smaller. And then what notes I've got. Like I need to pick up the mail that's coming from Montana. And because we travel, I need to know what post office to pick it up at. So I put that in here so I don't forget where I had the mail shipped to. I like their date fields. If you'll look, I'm supposed to go pick up the Killer Bunnies parts. If you don't know Killer Bunnies, it's pretty awesome. On their date fields, this is one thing I love about Notion. I've got the due date as the 20th, but I can put end dates in. So I can have a start date and an end date, and it will automatically update. Most databases, you would have to have two fields for that. So I really like that functionality. The other thing is I can put a reminder so I can say on the day of the event, remind me, and I don't have to have a separate field for reminders. The one thing I don't like about Notion is I can't make recurring goals. I haven't figured out a way to make that happen yet, but I've got some ideas I'm going to be working on. One of the things I did with my task list, because you can see here there's a goal. I've got this right here. You see it's an arrow. So I want to bring my software keys into Notion. So if you click on this, you can see I want to finish organizing in Notion, and that's an annual goal. So you can see this is actually a table that's related to another table. So we'll get to that in just a minute. So let's go back to today. So I've got my tasks for the day, and you can see I don't have anything assigned because it's Sunday. So I can close that. I did pull in a little weather widget so that I can kind of see what the weather is if I'm planning something. And then I made some follow-up items here. This is stuff I have over in OneNote where I have been tracking everything. And these I just need to kind of follow up on eventually, but they're not that critical. So I just kind of made myself a link to those so that I could check out them quickly without going to find them. I also have previous issues. I've been in the habit for the last year of when I work on something, I track it in OneNote and then I keep all the data so that if I need to find out what happened on that, I can. I've got my daily habits that I just finished up, and we'll go over that when we get to goals. But again, everything is collapsible. And then I've got my daily recap. I want to see how I'm doing for my days with my moods and all of that. So it's similar to the week, but I've got a day one as well. I also found a tool for tracking shipments because since we're mobile, we have to know when our shipments are going to arrive and make sure that we pick them up because we can't always have things shipped to an RV park. So we have to ship things to UPS or FedEx or wherever. When this works, it's great. Probably my cellular internet is really slow right now, so it's not loading the page properly. And then I put my goals, annual goals, life goals, objectives. I'm probably going to move these items up to here. I just haven't done it yet. But let's see if we can do that real quick. The thing is on Notion, you just click these little dots and drag. It's so easy. And I wanted to put these up here across from this. So I just go to where I see the blue dot. Now, boom. So now my daily habits, I can get quickly to my goals. So I can go back to my home page if I want to. Let's just talk about a few of these other things. I've got my Outlook calendar link, Google Calendar link. I put all the goals in here. These are all things that go together. Put the weekly plan down there. Don't know why I put it there when it's over here. Probably need to fix that. I have a lot of business cards that I collect. And I don't keep business cards because I have no place for them, but I don't want to get rid of the information because I never know when I'll need it again. So I've been saving them in Google Docs. I just created this and it took me a few seconds. It was so easy. I went up and made a gallery view, and then I just went over to File Explorer and I dragged all these business cards and dropped them, and boom, this is what I had. I can go into properties and see that I have the company, the email, the name, the phone number, and the service. But if I click on one of these, let's see. Let's do good old Charlie Adcock from FMCA. See, it's got the card there, but I haven't taken the time to put the data in here. I probably will going forward. I just haven't decided if I want to do it for the older ones and take the time. I can change this gallery view back to a names view, and then I can just see the names and you can see how much data is missing. So I could quickly and easily come in here and just fill these in just by clicking open, type in the data, and go back. But I really like seeing the gallery view because there's enough on there that I can easily read them and not have to type in all that data. So what else did we make? Insurance, I really like this one. Do this quickly. I've got all my car insurances, my homeowner's insurance, my life insurance. I've got reminders up here of when things happen. I really like this. I can do these card views, or I can do these views with all of these items across here. And once again, I didn't need this reminder field because I've got these date fields, but I wanted to see that I actually had a reminder set, so I did it separately. On these reminders, it's pretty simple to set one. It's just all clicking and whatever. So let's go back over here. I've got my vehicles. Nope, let's go down here. I've got inventories. These are all things that I keep track of in OneNote. I've got, actually, I take that back. Board games goes to Board Game Geeks. Books is books I want to read, I believe. Computer is all the data I have on all of the various components, the router.
I don't know that one.
Thank you, Alexa. Sorry, my Alexa is set to respond to that word right there, so I have to be careful saying it. I've got an inventory of essential oils. I've got a movies database. I've got a video games database. Those are all in different places. They're not going to be brought into Notion, but I can click on them and get to them. I've got my vehicle set up, so I've got my car. I've got a lot of data in OneNote that I can access, Google Drives. These are just all links. And then I've got my mileage that I track. I use a thing called Automatic that plugs into that ODB port, I think is what it's called. And it tracks my vehicle, which is great when you have teenagers because of these duration over 70 miles an hour, hard braking and hard accelerating. It's not an issue now that my girls are the ones driving, but when you have teenage boys driving,
I'm having trouble understanding right now.
when you have
Please try a little later.
When you have teenage boys driving, it's nice when you send them to run errands that you can kind of see how they're driving. If they're going over 75 or over 80, it actually tracks it. It also gives me maps and the latitude and longitude of where the trip was. I don't need to have all this information. This is just what it throws out there. I really just wanted to track my mileage on my car without having to do it manually. And then it comes with all these other fun features. So any of these links, this is again from Automatic, and then the If This Then That app is creating this Google Sheet. I can click on any of these and it actually gives me a little Google map of where that car was, where it went. It also helps you, it tracks where your car is currently, so you can see where you parked the car when you forget because you took the bicycles off the roof and you weren't thinking. So you walk out of a store and you realize, oh, we can't spot the car without the bikes. We get so used to seeing those bicycles that we don't ever think about where we park. I also have links to my insurance for the car. And then I have the same thing for the RV. The RV is a little bit different. I can click that one over here. It's got a lot of user manuals, which I downloaded all the user manuals in electronic format, put them into OneNote, and I didn't want to recreate all of that. I like that in OneNote, so I just have a link here. I do have a fuel log that I track. I use Fuelio for the RV because I want to kind of keep an eye on how much I'm paying versus and how much fuel we're using. So I have all of that data here. This is actually Fuelio does its own little sync. So I didn't have to use If This Then That. I just use the Fuelio app, and every time we fuel up the RV, we put the data in and we can see where we purchased the fuel, how much we're paying, and there should be an option for it has the latitude and longitude, should be the odometer reading. So I can see how much we're driving the RV. So I like having all of this data in one place. I also have a link to my roadside assistance in case we need a tow or some other issue. I do have extended warranties, so all of this data is stored in OneNote, and this is a nice place. It's like opening up a file folder and having everything in one place. That's why I wanted to use Notion. So let's go back and see what else we got. My travel planning, I really love this one. Because we travel, this one is my upcoming reservation, so you can see that's where we're headed next. This is where we are now. Didn't want to do that. This is where we are now because it's red, and this is actually the very next one. I've got this filter set that says if the date is within the past week or it's on or before a week from now. So within the next week, these are the places we're going to be visiting. I love the RV Trip Wizard. They have come a long way over the last few years. They are now my go-to source for planning my trips, and they've added a little kind of a widget that you can grab, and it's actually working really well in Notion, better than a lot of other things do. So you can see this is where we're headed, and I'm not sure how interactive it is. It gives me a little bit of information, like there's a park we're supposed to go to. It's not editable, but I can at least view it. And then if I want to click here or here, original, it'll open up the actual website where I can do my planning. I've got my link to my 1,000 Trails and my Coast to Coast because those are the two main parks I stay at. I've got a link to All Stays, which is what I use to find truck stops and Walmarts to stay at. I can use RV Trip Wizard, but their Walmart data, they just pretty much track all Walmarts, whereas Allstays has people write in and say whether or not Walmart allowed them to stay and if they had any problems. So I pay the fee to Allstays every year to get that data. And the guy that runs it has been really responsive whenever there's issues or problems or suggestions. He's been really great. I have a travel page that is just, I'll show you these in a minute, another app that's just another one of my homepage things so that I can find things. And then I've got a link over to my OneNote again for my membership data. And then I went ahead and threw in a widget for the week. So if I want to kind of think about my travel for the week, I can see what the weather is, where we're at. I will probably have to update this widget every time we change locations, which I don't like. But it is what it is. On the reservations page, this is the same table. It's just showing all of my reservations. So you can see this is where I am. This is next. If I click on one of these, this is the one we're at right now. I've got the dates. I've got tagged it as it's Thousand Trails. I've got my reservation number. I've got my actual link to the reservation website. Not sure what that says. Member park details. Okay. That's a link to the website. So some of the parks have their own websites. Oh, that's actually for here. This would be the page for Coast to Coast that I use. We'll see that in a minute. I'll pull up one of those. I've got a map. If there's a map of the campground, I've got easy access to that because I like to check before we get somewhere and see when I come in, is there going to be a place where I can pull over and unhook the Tahoe before I park? Or do I want to think about stopping beforehand and unhooking and having Lindsay follow me in? This one has a nice area here, so I didn't worry about it. I can also kind of see how many 50 amps and things there are, so I can get an idea of whether or not we'll get sewer or 50 amp, all of that information. What I'm tracking in here now, I'm using this twofold for the reservation information, but then once we get there, I'm putting in the site number, which I don't think that's our number. Whether or not I got a back end, a pull through, water, electric, sewer. I actually need to put 50 amps on there. I should have called this 50, let's see, water, 50, sewer. That's what that should have been, so that I know if it's 50 amp or 30 amp. How many bars of AT&T and Verizon we're getting and Sprint. Little note about the weather. I saw these trip log trackers that people do by hand, and I liked them, but I don't want to do all that. So I just threw it in here. Local post office. In this case, there's an Amazon pickup spot only a few miles away. So we put that in there so we know in the future. I found out that they were open New Year's Eve and New Year's Day because we were supposed to be headed over here and wanted to make sure they weren't closed. And then I put in my personal notes down here so I can kind of come back if we want to go back to this park again, which we probably will, and see some of that information when I'm planning. This one is Coast to Coast, so it's going to be a little bit different. It's got this member park details, which actually should go. Let's click on the right thing. It should go to the details on the Coast to Coast website. So if I need to find out any information about check-in or anything, I've already clicked and dropped the little thing right there. They have their own website, so I've got that, and then they have their map over here so I can get all the information I need. So when I'm working, I can just grab those little details and have them. Once again, I've got some old issues over in OneNote that I'm following up on, so I wanted to have an easy place for those. So let's talk about goals. This is my goals page, and I've made a little bucket list of things. Boom. I've got my life roles, which I want to define why these things are important to me and what I should be doing to make sure I'm doing well in each one of those roles. I've got some annual goals that I've got here. Put in the months, put in the quarter, related, dates, notes. Okay, so this is where the magic happens. I can go to monthly, and it puts them in a board view so I can kind of see each month what we're working on. You'll see this one's got a lot, so we'll look into this one in a minute. I did quarterly, which I haven't planned out past the first quarter. I like to see this view here. So we've got finish organizing in Notion. And you see how it's got a little icon there? It's actually going to be a little bit different than others. So I've got all of these related tasks and it's got this arrow. So let's see how this functions. I can go over here. Well, let's do it from this way. I like it better. I can see all these things have a little icon. So I want to finish my insurance pages, and you can see that one's done. Homeowners insurance, life insurance, these are all things I wanted to add into Notion. Let's see if I finished anything else. Nope, none of these are done. Okay, so if I want to add another one, let's say I want to add something new to Notion. I don't know what, we're just going to call it that. Then I can just, boom, create a new page. Now I've got something new, and it's right there. But what did that actually do? It put it into this related tasks. So if I come back over here, tasks are not on here. Tasks are over here. Tasks. And let's go to no due date. You can see add something new to Notion is put into my tasks because it was a related table. So all of these items over here in these annual goals, anything put into this column is going to actually create a task over my task table. So I really like how this is working now. I don't have to have a task. I can just set a goal and not have tasks, which is fine because some things are, books to read. I'm not assigning myself when I'm going to read those books, but I do have some books I would like to read. So I've just captured some things I would really like to accomplish this year. Some things I've got dates on, some things I haven't. I need to do a little bit more work personally on this. Then I've got my life goals. Those are just some little fun things that I want to do that I haven't really fleshed out yet. But another tool I found online for a planner had all of these items, all of these categories, and I thought that's really good. I need to work on those things. I've got objectives, which you can see again, the objective is linked to a goal. So I want to walk twice a day. That's the goal of exercise. So if I click here, you can see it's linked to exercise. And if I click exercise, it actually takes me to the goal, which that goal lives up here in exercise, walk twice a day. So I'm not doing anything right now. Where do I want to be? How do I want to get there? Why is it important? All of this information I found online in various tools into how to set goals and achieve them. What I wanted to do is create a related item in my daily tasks. So the goal really won't get accomplished unless I can break it down into an objective, made the objective, and then take the objective and turn it into an actual actionable item. So what I decided to do is walk in the mornings and walk in the evenings. So again, the little arrow means that it's pulling up these from another table. So let's go look at those tables. Those tables are down here called the daily habits. I want to walk in the morning, start with 1 minute for 5 days, then increase 1 minute for 5 days until I get up to 30 minutes. So I'm kind of setting a low goal. Might go faster than that, but I wanted to make it slow enough that I wouldn't fail. I put my target dates in. I want to read or listen to my character qualities. I put my target dates in. When they're done, I'll click them off. I haven't added any views to this because I just built it today. This is what I really like here. This was the piece I had trouble figuring out how to do. I want to measure these goals because without measuring if I'm actually doing them, it doesn't really mean anything. So I played around with some various ways to do this, and this is what I finally came up with. Again, the little arrow means it's a related row. So what is that relating to? Down here, I've got my habit counter. So I want to walk in the mornings, and this is just dummy data I stuck in playing with it. So you have to name everything. One thing I don't like about Notion tables is in regular database structures, you would have a key, and that key would be how you relate to everything. And that key is usually a numeric key, and it's often hidden. In Notion, they don't have that ability, so they use this title field, which you can't change. It's just always going to be there. And I didn't really need a title, so I just decided to use a number and count them 1, 2, 3, 4. The data that I really want is right here. So let's see how this would work. If today, let's call it number 3, let's say I'm going to walk. So I pick my walk in the mornings item right there, boom, and then come back here. And then I put the date. Let's say we're already at Wednesday. All right, so boom, that's all I have to do is add those little things in, which one I do. But what it does is up here, see my walk twice a day objective, but my walk in the mornings habit. So these are the same objectives, but 2 different habits. So over here, you can see there's number 3. Okay, if I click in that field, I see 1, 2, 3. Those are the times I've done it. So I can kind of get that data, and then I've got a count. This is a roll-up field that's actually showing me how many times I've done it. So I can come over here and see exactly where I stand. Let's say we're down into May, and this number is still at 3. I know I'm failing because I was supposed to start in January, and I've only done it 3 times. That's not good. So I've made my goals measurable. Where I put that information is over here on today. When I see my task, then I also have my daily habits. So each day I can just boom, add my habits. I don't necessarily need to see the objectives and all of that information. I just want to each day add these little habits here. And what I've done with the filter is put the target in. You can see walk in the mornings is here, but walk in the evenings is missing because I'm not going to start walking in the evenings until July 1st. So on July 1st, that actual habit will show up and I'll begin tracking that. And this habit might disappear because of the target dates I've set through June. Ideally, if you establish the habit, then you don't have to keep tracking it because you've made it a habit. So that's what I'm hoping to do with this. I've got a few other things that I don't think I've added to my homepage yet. Let's see. Nope, I need to add these to the homepage. I made a vision. Let's click in the right place. I made a vision, a 7-year vision. So you can see I put the years out, and then I put these overall categories of what I wanted to work on. I may try to tie this into the annual goals, but I just haven't done it yet. I was working on, I turned the 1-year vision into annual goals and got rid of that one completely. So you can see one of the things I like, each one of these pages has a little icon on them. So let's go up to here. These are so easy. You click it and you pick one of these. Lots to choose from. You can upload an image. They're really fun. These covers, I like this. You can change the cover. You can go over here. You can type in any kind of word and get something that you like. So you can also upload your own, which works really well. So I wanted it to be kind of girly, and so you'll see a lot of the stuff I did is got a lot of girly colors in it and things. One of the things the kids and I worked on yesterday, we created a weekly schedule. We wanted to be more active and get more done. So we've put times in. This is everything. It's got the days that we do things. It's got who it's assigned to, what type it is, so that when I pick these different views, I can go by the day and I can see Monday, what we've said we're going to do. I can do the types, so we can see our spiritual things, our work and school, our meals, chores, pets, and fun. We've got by the person, because Lindsay's an adult, so she doesn't have to do schoolwork, so she's got some different things that she's assigned. The kids, these 3 are about the same. But again, we use these little icons to kind of draw your attention to things so that you can see wherever the dog is. You can see the dog. Somebody needs to take the dog out, get showered and dressed. There's a little bathtub. So those are just kind of fun. We can do this view in the table format, which is where I like to edit it. Usually when you're in these other ones, you can click these boxes and drag them and move them. So I like that. It's a Kanban board, so it works pretty well. This page here is actually shared with the kids. I've got a paid account, but the kids are guests, so they get to use the pages that I create with a free account, and I don't have to pay for them. So if I can create some pages for them to track things with, then I can only pay one fee and we can all be using this. I think that's about it. You can see that these are shared pages and these are private pages. I favorited this one. I kind of want to make this my launching place when I'm working on things so that everything's here. I need to put a few more tabs, little links in. It's pretty simple to use Notion. There's lots of videos out there, so I won't go into that. I just kind of wanted to focus on what I'm doing. So hopefully this will give you an idea. If you want to build something and get yourself more organized, you can see this is a really powerful tool, and I think it's become my favorite. I've tried a lot. I've tried Asana. I've tried Trello. I've tried all the popular things, and none of them have really worked well for me because I do things in different ways than most business people do. So this has been a great way to pull everything together in one place and not have to really abandon all the stuff I've put into OneNote. So hopefully this will give you some ideas. Good luck.